Welcome back to a praise be to Jesus. Welcome back to another video. Welcome back to another video. Today I had another life drawing session. I've had two actually since, but one of them there's not really too much to talk about on that one. So I'm going to talk about my most recent one, and it's more in my brain as I did it this morning. So I'm going to kind of explain like what we did, the different sort of techniques we explored, and my thoughts on that. I might go through some of the pictures from the one prior. We'll see how much time we've got because I don't want this to drag on forever. So went in there straight away. It's like, okay, let's warm up. Let's do some quick drawings. So this is my first one. This was 5 minutes. Obviously, she was sitting down. Yeah, it was a lady again. She was sitting down, and I kind of, from what I'd done the week before, actually I probably wrote something the week before then, because the week before we kind of more focused on like space around the model rather than the model themselves. So you can kind of see how here it's like I just like blocked all that in, and then kind of just stopped where it kind of met the shape of the model. And then we were also focusing on how the model affects the space around them, because essentially he was saying that even though you're focusing on the model, like everything's still made of atoms and is one thing. So try and include the environment in there to some extent, even if you're not necessarily straight drawing the environment. So, or at least the model's presence, their weight and their volume and the effects of the environment. So like, you know, as an example there, she had like a knee sticking out there, you know, like they do at the back, but a knee is a harder surface, so I went with a harder edge, so kind of like that approach. So yeah, and I kind of followed the flow of the leg there. I was quite happy with that actually. I was like, oh, that's not too bad considering we just came in and he was like, draw! So yeah, I'm quite happy with that one. So yeah, that was 5 minutes for that one. And then after that he was like, okay, another pause, and then I think it was 4 minutes that one. So did another one, not as happy with this one, but kind of took like the same approach of like just and then get the shape in. So like I kind of see it kind of start here and get the shape in. Drew too big again, keep doing that, and then I can't fit like the whole model on that. But when it's really hard to gauge that. So yeah, again I kind of just focused on the space, and again he said also when you focus on a space you're supposed to focus on the space in front of the model, which sounds daft because you can't see it, but you want to create this sense of depth almost. So he's trying to keep us away from like shading at the moment, as in like where the light's hitting the model, and have us more focused on the surface of the model, like the parts of the body that are closest to you, which I'll get into in a minute. But and then these circles here, he was like, oh, just draw a circle. You know, when most people draw, they just draw the outline of something, don't they? So, and then he was like, try drawing the circle, but kind of just go out from the middle like this, like sort of like you just got like a lump of clay and you're building on top of it, and but all the strokes outwards like that. So I did that, and then he said, what I want you to do is like draw the model in that way. So like find a part of the model that you would say treat as the core. So like, I think, yeah, she was standing up on the first one I did. So I kind of just took her stomach as the core and then worked out from the stomach. And it was basically just like, right, we did like about 2 5-minute runs doing that. So 5 minutes, try and get like the general gist of the shape, and then he gave us, actually I think he gave us another 10 minutes to kind of then draw out, and but as you're drawing out and you get into the edge, kind of like really defining those edges. But it was really weird because he didn't want us to do that, he wanted us to go out from the core, and then if you had to kind of go down, just kind of just it all flow out. And I think he's trying to get us to focus on all coming out from this point. So yeah, that's what I did. And I was quite happy with this one actually. So just so you know, because you have to kind of make yeah, the shape of the model looks like something else. But she like the pose was like this. She was kind of like, or was it the other way around? Well, if I'm facing you, this is how it was to me. So she had like an arm there, and then like an arm there, like that, and then she was like, and like her back was like a little bit arched, and she was like sticking her bum out like. So, and she had like a ponytail as well. So this was kind of like what I came up with. I was really happy with that, to be honest. We did like 5 minutes or so at first, and then he was like, all right, now I want you to like drill it down a bit more, spend a bit more time in it. So yeah, I'm quite happy with that actually. But this was just more of an exercise. You see like here, it looks like something else, but this is like the tip of her elbow here, where it's like that, because her arms were wrapped around her, and then she had like another hand there, and then it was like a tummy, and then she had like one leg, like I think like that, and the other was going down, and then obviously the rest is kind of self-explanatory. Head slightly turned away from me, ponytail down the back. So bloody hell, I still tons of charcoal on that. I'm gonna have to get like some hairspray on these to fix them down, because I'm not spending £7 on a can of fixative. Get like hairspray for £1. So yeah, and then the next one, it was a bit more challenging, and I need to have another kind of practice at this, because I felt like I was on a roll at this point, and then I did this one and I was like, no, it's not good. But he wanted us to go a lot lighter when we're going out, rather than, because obviously I was quite heavy there, so I go lighter. He said, oh, imagine it like smoke or whatever, lighter. Even use like a chamois cloth to blend it, use your fingers, whatever. Still moving out from the central point. And then after that, he was like, right, now you've got your shape, which I found harder to do because the shape was more of a suggestion because it was lighter, so it was kind of hard to mould it. But I sort of started getting there near the end. And then after that, he was like, right, the points that are closer to you, do them lighter, and the points that are further away, do them darker. So you've got this sense of the space in front of you, if you like, and how that it interacts with the model. So not like the way the light hits them, but the light what's closer to you. So we did that, and then we kind of like focused on the edges. But like I do that because he was like, when you draw the edges, I want you to kind of like almost like shade, like with a charcoal on its side, then curve the edge like that. So you create this effect of like, you know, it's like my arm here, right? It's like you could draw it like that, but you're not really catching. Obviously, there's something behind here, you can't see it. I mean, yeah, pure muscle for a start. But what I mean is like there's shape behind there. You can't see it, but you know it's there. You can still like suggest it. So we kind of did that. I wasn't too happy with this, but you can kind of get the idea. So you can see how sort of like the evolution from the one before. Now you can kind of see the depth. I needed to create a bit more contrast, to be honest. I kind of realised in this session that I'm not that good with charcoal, in that, as in I'm not used to like how hard, soft to press. Either press too hard or press too soft, and then when you do that, sometimes you can lose your range, your tonal range, your contrast. So, but you can see here like the hand was furthest away, her shoulder there at the back was furthest away, because I could just see that, so I did them the darkest. Leg here, that was probably my nearest point. This was pretty near. The arm was a bit nearer. But yeah, it was challenging. So the dark stuff is further away. Obviously, the light stuff, not obviously, but the light stuff is closer. But I suppose that's the way anyone's brain would process it by default. But and then yeah, she had like a foot tucked under her leg, so. But it's really hard to not kind of go, oh well, that's a shadow, so I'll do that darker, you know. It needed. I don't know. I'd struggled with that one. I did struggle with that one. It wasn't great. So what are we at now? 10 minutes. Oh, I blasted through that. So that's basically what we did that session. Didn't do that many drawings really, but we just spent more time on the individual drawings. So. But yeah, like I'll show a few from the session before. So like it was a dude this time. So again, go in, just draw a picture, did that, just winged it, made it up as I went along. I tried to, because obviously the first session, which my last video was on, was more about like creative mark making, so I just tried to be a bit more like looser and liberal with it. You can see a theme with mine though, of like always like a heavier side. So yeah, that was 5 minutes. Ooh. Looks more like a 2-minute drawing that. And then we did another one. Again, he was like, "Oh, just bang out another." So I was like, "Boom." That was his. Actually, I don't think I could fit his other hand on there. No, I couldn't. I went proper scribbly on that one though as well. That one, I think the pose was kind of like. But you can't really see that on there because it's not with the hands. It looks more like he's going, "Jetsons!" So, yeah, not good. And then after that, he was like, "Right, this is where it got a bit wild," and you, oh, focus. This is where it went a bit wild, and he kind of lost me a little bit. This was more like, okay, now I want you to look at the model, like fix your eyes on one point on the model, but don't draw the model. Like literally draw everything around the model. And I was like, yeah, I can do that. I could draw the room around and just leave a blank space where it is easy. And he was like, no. It's like, yeah, and he was like, what I mean is like, draw everything. Like you have a thing called peripheral vision, right? So if you kind of go like this with your hands and don't move your eyes, like I can still see my hands like here. I can still see them. Or at least I can still get, if I move them, I still get a sense of the movement. I might not be able to pick out every detail in them, but I can still see them. So it's basically like focus on the model and then everything here, like this is probably my peripheral, everything here, draw it. And I was like, right. And he's like, and don't look at the paper. So it's just like, it's so hard just not to look around. And in my head I was like, well, I know there's a shelf there because I walked in earlier. I can't really see the shelf, so I'll just do a general shelf. And the stuff that came out. So this was, I don't even know which way, right? These go, oh, I guess the right one there, a clue. So, visual field. So, yeah, so random. But I think on this side, the teacher was like sitting there like with his legs cross-legged. So he's in there somewhere, see if you can decipher it. And there's a shelf in the mirror. There was an easel the other side of the room, so I kind of drew that. This was supposed to be like the beams, lights on the ceiling. It's quite a big studio. The big triangle at the bottom was like, there was a bit of a differentiation in the floor, so I kind of just, but I couldn't really look at it, so I just had to be like, oh, I'll just do something to suggest it. So yeah, that was weird. That was weird. And then he was like, okay, now I want you to do that again, but like, include the stuff that's, I'm not sure I did this right, to be honest, but include the stuff that you can't see. So, like, we're in like a big, old industrial building that's been like converted. And so we're like in the city, like we're in Manchester. So I was thinking about, oh, cars and buildings that's going behind, and then I ended up, I think because my peripheral is like this, I think I ended up with this like circular motion. And then like, there's like, you can see like the square dots at the top, I think they were to represent cars or traffic. God, you know what, I should have done, I should have talked about this right after the session because I don't know what most of that stuff is. The big squiggle there, I don't know, I have no bloody idea. I think this stuff around these far edges like bits of the studio. And then I think there's a lot more going on sort of to my right, and then it's almost like to the right of the sphere, or like maybe the right hand side of the sphere was more like what I couldn't see, and then the other side was more just general shite lying around the room that I also couldn't really see. Yeah, that was bizarre. And I think I got the vibe with that when he was like, not quite what I was going for. I mean, he was nice about it, you know. But, did I show you this one already? I showed you this one already. And then, what did he do? Yeah, then he was like, okay, again, do this. And I was like, oh, I hate doing this. So I did it 3 times. And he was like, yeah, this one now, I can kind of, yeah, when he explained it again, I was like, okay, no, I think I got it wrong then. I don't know if I was supposed to think about Manchester and the city. I think I was supposed to think more like closer to home, like what's actually my peripheral. So it's very hard. I think some of the things, ideas he's trying to convey are very like abstract. So it takes you. He just said if you don't get it, just keep drawing and eventually you'll get it. So here, yeah, this is a little masterpiece. Yeah, going to be selling this one if anyone's interested. £900 because it's about the expression that's gone into it. It makes a statement of what the fuck am I doing? So yeah, I actually noticed some of the stuff isn't here though. This was the door to the studio, which is kind of like down a little bit of a corridor. This was the shelves. No, that wasn't the door. That was the door. That was him, and he like had his legs out and his shoes there. That was the shelves with some plates on it. That was something. Actually, I think that might have been the projector in the corner. Again, the easel's over there. Again, the floor is like suggested there. So there's some similarities to the first one. But it was so crazy because it's like, once we draw that stuff, we like turn it round and everyone compares, and when it came to that exercise, everyone's stuff was just like completely different. It is always interesting how people, like we're drawing the same model and we use the same techniques. Alright, we're doing it from different angles, so it's going to be different in that respect, but even if we're doing it from the same angle, it's all completely different. Like even in the marks we're making, everything. Yeah, like it's kind of interesting really. Like when we did it, that kind of the smoke approach that I talked about earlier, I pressed really light, everyone else was pressing hard, and I was like, did you not tell us to press light? But then it was like, you really press hard, I was like, sure you told me to press light. So then after that I had to kind of build it up, and yeah, so I struggled with that. But then the first one where it was like, just get the, really blocking the shape, like I was like, oh, I like this, it's easy. And I think others maybe struggled with that, so it swings and roundabouts really. Right, what are we on? 90, yeah, come on, let's do this, it's powerful. Yeah, so then he was like, right, now I want you to draw the model, but not draw the model. I was like, right, okay. So basically just draw the immediate space around the model with expressive marks and da-di-da-di-da. So you can kind of see here now that something's taking shape. I'll have to give you a minute to look at that one. You can kind of see though that it was like a whimsical pose, Peter Pan-esque. I even did a little spiral there. And then I used like, he was bald, this guy, right? So I was like, oh, his head's probably quite hard because he's bald. Just like my bald patch is hard, but the rest of my hair is soft. So I did like a harder edge where that was, like, yeah. Just trying to be more like, you know, really like, and he was saying like, consider how the guy's body would affect the space. I was like, oh right, okay. Yeah, it's weird, you have to kind of really, it wasn't that bad actually, that one. It's just some very abstract stuff in that session. But it did make me think like, oh, you know, when I'm drawing art and I'm doing portraits and stuff, a lot of the time I'm just like focusing on the subjects, which you should do, but you add so much more when you try and translate their effects on their environment or some kind of movement. Like even moving even when someone's standing still, like they're human beings, so they're gonna be like, you know, they're gonna be breathing. There's gonna be slight movement. You know what I mean? Like he showed us a picture. I can't remember the eyes, but there's like a light from something like holding the baby, and the baby must have been like wriggling and stuff. So they'd drawn the baby like accurately, but then they were kind of like little lines to suggest other places where their legs could be, or their arms, or position their head. And it was like you got the sense that like the baby was like, get off me, you know, and she was like, you know. So, but they conveyed that in a drawing. So, because another thing is like, he said like, don't worry too much about like sketching and building things up. You don't have to like rub your eyes. Nothing has to be like perfect. Sometimes the lines, your construction lines, you can leave some in because they give a sense of like flow, or shape, or weight to the picture. So that was interesting. Yeah. So then another. Yeah, this one was more like doing the. What was he doing there? Yeah, superhero landing, sort of, but a bit more like leant forward. So again, I just went with like harder edges, like which really dark at the top. He kind of like had his elbow like back and up like that. So that's why I went so hard at the top. So it's focusing less on like super accuracy and more on like getting us into the vibe of like drawing space. And I think the idea is that at the end of this, because I mean I've gone a bit backwards here, because obviously the first ones I did with a more recent lesson, but you can see how, now we're concentrating on the model and the way the model affects the environment. And it's like, I'm guessing at the end of this we combine it all together, and it would, you know, and it has given me a different style, a different way of drawing, and it is more enjoyable because I can kind of just freely draw something, and I don't feel like it's crap, because I'm like, no, I meant to do that. Maybe that's the trick of art, you just go, yeah, I meant to do that. Why'd you do it? Well, that's for you to figure out. 10 grand please. I don't know. Right, what the hell is this? I don't know what this is. What the hell? It says so, I can't even. Wait. Space relationships. Space is mass energy. The model affects the space. Think about the weight of the model. Right, okay, I think I can just about figure this one out. I know it looks like a bloody fetus, but I think his head's at the top here, and he was kind of like cross-legged, sat down and hunched over, and I think he had like a hand up on his head. So you can vaguely make out the suggestion of that, but again, focusing on the space. Yeah, that was, yeah. And then I kind of just went a bit wild around it, because I was thinking about the surface of the floor, and how that was scratchy. Yeah, I really captured the scratchiness in that one. And then these last 3 were all the same. I kept doing it wrong. So this is just a pile of crap. But basically, like, he had the guy like sort of like hunched up like this, and he was like, focus on like this area. Imagine he's like a cave, so right at the back here it's black. It's a dark cave. You can't see. As stuff comes forward, you can see it more. So kind of like the principle I talked about earlier, where stuff towards you is lighter. But I was like trying to draw his whole body, and he was like, no, just focus on like the middle area, and he kept going, no, and I had to start again and go smaller and smaller, and I still didn't. To be honest, I still didn't really get it at the end. I got the gist of it, I think. Yeah, I started doing this one, and he was like, no, not the full body. So you can kind of see there where behind him. I think I was seeing him at an angle rather than right in front of him actually, which, yeah. I was really caught up with like, no, this needs to be, you need to be able to look at it and know what it is. And I think I failed on that front, but yeah, that's not what he wanted. I had to use some white here as well, some white chalk, because like, yeah, I just wasn't really getting the contrast right. But so all the black to this side is like behind him, and he's like leaning forwards. So he's like leaning forwards like this, you know. So yeah, that was that one. And then he had me but then he was like, no, do it again. I was like, oh my hell, zoom in again. So now I was just trying to focus on like his head down and his arms like this, and then all black in here. And you can kind of roughly see it. But yeah, I didn't enjoy that. Not gonna lie, I did not enjoy that. That session, honestly, I'm like, I don't think I came out with like, I mean, it's all about learning it. I suppose it doesn't really matter if you come out with a good drawing or not, but at least the first one I felt like, oh, they're nice. I could probably do something with that, even if I bloody put it in Photoshop and do something with it. But I didn't really feel like I got anything I could use. But to be fair, that's not what it's about. But then the latest one I did get that. I'm really happy with the first one where she was sitting down, which was just I just went and went da 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 da. Exactly that. Really happy with the dark silhouette. I think that was my picture of the day. That one, this one, picture of the day. Yeah, and then my second favourite one was this one because yeah, it's messy, but you can see what it is. I think there's good proportions. There's a good sense of like using different strokes and stuff. So yeah, pretty much that was it. That was my last two. Actually, I did cover my last two. So yeah, I got 3 more to go. I think we're gonna start pulling it together next week. So that could be quite exciting. Let's just see how it turns out. And yeah, I'll hopefully. No, I'll try and do a video and talk about that either right after the fact, which probably might be better because it's fresh made. Or if I've not got time to do that, I will try and do it at some point. I'll try and actually commit to things. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. Smash that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you again next time.